So hi, my name is Austin Melling, and today I'll be talking about and trying to persuade you about our recent pandemic of the coronavirus. The problem with the coronavirus right now is that there are people like us teenagers and college students who seem to not follow these kind of orders, and instead go out and go on vacations and everything, and this has caused many problems. So now, quarantine and social distancing was put into place to slow everything down, but it seems to be a problem with many of the teenagers and college students, as I expressed. So I'll be explaining the statistics starting in Wuhan, China, and how it has spread over time. So the first word of COVID-19 was actually back in November. Many people didn't know about it, but when government officials here in America were first told about it, they didn't think much about it. Because when they were told about it, there's only a few cases back in Wuhan, so it didn't seem that drastic. But then in early January, they started to see a whole lot more cases. It started becoming a problem. As stated by the DSHS, the virus is thought to mainly spread from person to person. These droplets can land in mouths, noses, and people who are nearby, or people who can possibly inhale it in their lungs. China has been drastically affected by this. Ever since the massive spread, ever since March 1st, it has reached almost 80,000 people, with around the death toll of 3,300. Though, the reason why they were able to flatten this curve and keep the death rates low was because people who were infected went to go get checked out, went to the hospital, and they were able to be taken care of. And because they stayed in quarantine for a couple of months like they were told to, the curve ultimately flattened. And in the last month, there have only been a recent 500 to 1,000 cases. Even though the spread of the virus in China has ultimately leveled out, that isn't the case for most other countries. Because people who were there visiting China or their neighboring countries have started getting infected too. Specifically Italy. Italy started showing up in the charts very early and has reached 80,000 in the past couple of months too. But people who were visiting in China, and people who were also visiting in Italy from America, came back. And then we had our first cases open up in California and in Washington. Now it started off slow. We didn't reach any high grounds until the start of spring break. This is due to college students going out on break and going to places like Florida and Miami. Florida being the biggest hit area where people started to get infected. And ever since the start of March, it started spreading like a wildfire. And we actually hit 80,000 people ever since March 26th. Now, stated by Robles from the news, weeks before Florida ordered people to stay at home, the coronavirus was well into its indigenous spread in the state. And also, a college student who did actually go to Florida for spring break stated this: "I was thinking, okay, well, hold on. The government did not cancel it, so I should be fine." That was the state of mind of everybody else. Because that wasn't put into place when it started becoming a pandemic, then we thought of it as a problem. And because of that, it started spreading out throughout everywhere. Now, there are ways to take care of this virus. We don't have a cure for it, though in the past couple of hours, and actually recently today, there have been 2 vaccines that they are currently testing to see if they can cure it. To prevent the spread, we can do what everybody else is doing, which is something that us Americans have failed to do, but are starting to realize and grasp right now. As long as we stay in quarantine, make sure we wipe everything down, and if we do have any symptoms, to go get checked out, to follow procedures as washing your hands for 20 seconds, making sure you're not getting into contact with people with non-family members and people who are infected, touching your nose, eyes, or mouth. As long as we follow those procedures, we'll be safe, and in a couple months, we'll go back to where we want to be, going out, hanging out with friends, just living our regular lives. So in conclusion, as long as we can do all this, because of this recent spreads, and we can spread awareness and try to stop this pandemic, we can go back to living how we want to be.